Welcome, dear one, to your Soul's Therapist podcast. I'm Vlada de Sousa. Today's episode may shift the way you see everything. We are diving into a dimension that is rarely spoken about in depth. That's your inner world. Not in the way we often hear about inner critics or inner children, but in a much, much vaster, more intricate way. You will learn why your personality might not be fixed at all, but shaped by some protective parts. Why your outer reality is not random at all, but a mirror of what lives within you. And why the calm, the safety and clarity you long for can only be found when you turn inward with curiosity and compassion. Most of us live in just one room of who we are. But there is an entire inner mansion waiting to be discovered. This episode is your invitation to open the first door. Let's begin. Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to your Soul's Therapist podcast. Today, I am going to talk to you about the topic that maybe can be a little bit intimidating. Maybe some of you are really, really curious about your inner world. I want to start with saying that I've done a lot of different types of therapies, different types of approaches. I read a lot of spiritual books. I listened to a lot of spiritual teachers. And all of that was truly interesting and insightful and truly helpful. And I followed for some time Buddhist tradition, and I did a lot of hours of meditation. I did silent meditation retreats, and each of the steps on my journey have been very helpful and very supportive. Having said that, it was very interesting for me to discover many years later, many hours of meditation later, that I might not yet know myself truly and completely, and not yet really know myself on the level that I possibly can. And this level, what in this episode I will be calling inner world, is really truly not available for most of us for some reasons. And there is not many teachers and guides that truly can take us on this odyssey, on this absolutely wild journey of discovering the internal reality, the internal dimension, this world that lives behind our eyes in our awareness. In some psychotherapists, they would call this unconscious or subconscious. And we also know that the true answer for all our questions lies there in our subconscious or unconscious, in something that is not visible to our eye. It is something that is not logically, clearly easy to grasp and understand. And all of that lives within. So when you just look at our body, you can see the brain itself, you can see the organs, the fluids, the whole materials thing, right? And if I tell you, go inside and look into your inner world, you might ask me, what do you actually mean by that? Go where inside? And how do I go inside? And where is that place that I actually need to go to, and where to look and how to find it, in which space, in which place? And this is a very good question, because none of us really got proper education of how to turn inwards, ask questions, and even have that sense of interoception or insight, how to see within and how to interact with ourselves from within. So I know that today we will not be able to really uncover completely all the aspects of this topic, because as you can imagine, it's huge and vast, and we can talk about it for ages. But my personal agenda today is to lay the foundations. My mission and my purpose is to make sure that we live in a world that is safe. I want to live in a world that is safe. I want everyone live in the world that is safe. And the only way we can create a safe, truly safe world is by making sure we are conscious, aware humans that know ourselves. This is a very ancient scripture that was written at the temples of Delphi in Greece. Know thyself. It is truly the most important thing, to know thyself. And when we know ourselves, when we know our inner world, what is there, when we are, interacting with our light side and the dark side, our bad parts and our good parts, when we really know what's there, we become truly conscious. And by becoming truly conscious, we become truly safe. We are safe to ourselves. It is safe to be with ourselves, meaning we are not escaping, running, and afraid of what's there. And it is safe to be with us, because we know that there is nothing unconscious sitting there and out of nowhere can just launch at us, right? When there is something unconscious, you just never know how unconscious person can respond to you or react to you. Or you might be saying a joke, but it can trigger someone to the extent that they blow up in front of you, right? That just simply means there is something there within that hasn't been seen, hasn't been met, hasn't been properly known or healed if needed. And that's why we get to be very reactive, or our behavior is out of control. We cannot control ourselves, and no one can control us. And for me, this is the most maybe unsafe thing that there exists, is when people are acting out of some kind of internal impulse or internal part of them that just completely unknown and lives on its own, and it's out of control, and it just comes out of nowhere and does its thing, right? That becomes the most unsafe thing we can meet in this world. So my agenda and my mission and my purpose is to make sure that we live in a safe world. I want to be feeling safe with myself. I want you to feel safe with me. I want myself to feel safe with you. And that to me is a good enough reason to speak about these things, to record episodes like this, and to continuously educate ourselves on the unconscious, the inner world. So let's start laying the foundation. What is the outer world? And what is the inner world? And why no one ever told us anything about inner world? Even in the most popular spiritual circles and traditions, sometimes we hear about inner critic, or we can hear about inner child. That's pretty much it. So when we do like a journey to heal our inner child, we go and probably we find a sad version of us, like a sad girl or a sad boy that was bullied at school, for example, or was screamed or yelled at by someone. Yeah, and we just connect with that part of us and we take care of that child and we let them, come forward to us and we get to connect and to know that aspect of us. And that is already considered like a very big journey on the inner world. But let me tell you this, it's not even scratching the surface, okay? There is way, way more to this inner thing. There is not one inner child. There is not one inner critic. There is more and more and more to it. Now, the outer world is everything that we can see with our two eyes and understand logically and make sense of. And majority of us just used to living in the outer world, meaning our attention is always on the thing in front of us. And what we see, we consider is real. What we don't see, do not consider real. It's an just quote unquote imagination. So we will talk about the difference between really seeing your inner world and imagining something. But I want you to kind of notice where you are in this dimension. How much of you is living in the outer world and how much of you is living on the inside? So when you live in majority of time in the outer world, your mind, your attention is focused on the next thing to do. Reading, looking, listening, planning, observing, making steps, making actions, performing, achieving, making money, and so on and so forth. So like you wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, and here it goes. So you do. Maybe you sit down and rest for a second, have a cup of tea. Maybe you look a little bit into your garden or you play with your dog. You maybe even do a 5 minute of meditation, but then again, do. And then you go to sleep. And that's the sleep is the time when we see dreams, right? So the time when we see dreams is like a little bit of a taster of how our inner world is doing. And sometimes, we can interpret our dreams, but I believe our system is using just whatever it can, any kind of images, symbols that represent what is going on in our inner world. And if you find yourself to be a person that just most of the time spends on the outside, just managing one thing after another, paying attention to everything that is surrounding you, don't worry, this is basically how we were all raised. This is how we function. And of course, we need to interact with the world around us, right? We cannot just live with our eyes closed and interact with the world inside. But I just have to tell you one thing. There's one very important thing you need to know, is that your outer world, and this is not the woo-woo kind of spiritual stuff that I'm throwing in, it is reality. Our outer world, the way our life is set, whether we are in relationship or not, whether we are successful or not, whether we are connected to others, belonging or not, whether we are productive or not, all the things, the way our life is set, literally everything, what you see on your outside is the mirror and the byproduct. It's a result of the setting on the inside. So if you ask me, my take on this is that the inner world always comes first and the outer world follows. So the settings that we have on the inside will define what you see on the outside. It's like in the programming, there is backend, right? You need to go and adjust the code. And then there is front that you see, right? Basically, when you adjust the code, what you see on the screen or on the website changes. The picture changes. So the inner world is that code, is that backend, and the outer world is that front end that we actually see as a mirror of the inner world. This is not coming from positive psychology, some kind of spiritual ideas and beliefs. Absolutely no. This is something that I see absolutely in my personal journey when I adjust and fine tune or correct the code on the inside, when I communicate, interact, and work with my inner world, my outer world changes right the same moment. How I see other people, how I feel about other people, how I react to other people, how I see the world, how I feel about the world, how I react to other world changes instantly after I work with my inner world. So imagine that today, everything you see, how you react, how you respond, your opinions, your beliefs, your feelings and emotions about everything in your life, imagine that if you go inside and you just look at it and you just fine tune a few things, I'm not saying it's so simple, right? In some cases, it takes a bit longer than that. But when you will work on your inside and you change something or you adjust something, what you will see, how you will perceive it, will change. I'm not saying that if you change something on the inside, you will wake up in another house with another husband or another wife. No. But the next step would be for you to take the lead on that and do the necessary adjustments and changes in your life so that you will actually, your inner world will match and mirror back your outer world. You will just do it. It's also something that I perfectly proved and discovered for myself and working with lots of people, that when they change something on the internal world, they start having changes in the outer world. And that change happens actually pretty fast. Now, going back to the inner and outer world. So yes, a lot of us live on the outer world. We are wired to do that. This is just, even we believe there is just one world. We just don't even conceive or imagine there is something else. We believe there is only outer world. This is how it is. This is the house. This is a chair. This is a table. This is my mother. This is my dog. This is my teacher. This is my kid. That's it. That's the world that I'm living in. Okay. And maybe sometimes some of you are a little bit further on the journey and you have already started some introspection, and you probably ask yourself a few questions, or you know your inner critic, or you know your inner child. Or, for example, you are able to observe, your responses and reactions to certain things, and a little bit your system, a little bit, just a little bit. And sometimes you might just sit down and meditate, and something might just arise in that meditation, maybe a past story, or a moment in time or relationship, or a part of you can just kind of pop up in the meditation, a part of you that just lacking attention, a part of you that is afraid, a part of you that is a really intense internal critic. So these things can pop up when you go inside, when you not falling asleep, but you consciously close your eyes and you actually want to go on the inside and work with something, for example, to calm yourself before going to sleep, right? You need to notice that there is part of you that probably stressed or worried or too activated, and you need to talk to that part of you to calm down and shift to rest, right? So there is probably, for some of you, there's already micro steps that have been taken to meet something within you and already connect and already work with something within you. Having said that, you know me, after many, 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 many years of doing meditation, long meditation retreats, meditating, teaching meditation, you know, doing all those things, I, at some point, discovered that I just saw a fraction, just a micro fraction of actual reality that I'm swimming in. If you're hearing this and you're starting getting scared, concerned, or overwhelmed, I can tell you this. It is much more scary to be oblivious, numb, and disconnected from your inner world than to go there and piece by piece, part by part, spot by spot, discover, learn, and investigate which world you're living in. It is almost, the analogy would be that you're living in a big mansion and you think that the courtyard or the patio that you have in that mansion is the whole mansion. But you kind of have a sense that there is something else, that there is more, that there is something more to this garden that you see with your two eyes, and it's kind of right behind you, but you're just not really sure how to turn around or how to approach it or how to go there. But one day someone tells you, hey, turn around, look back. You have 20 rooms. You have a big kitchen, you have a living room, you have 18 bedrooms, you have all these bathrooms, you have a rooftop, and you had no idea. You could live all your life thinking that the courtyard is your entire life, is your entire property, but then you can discover that, oh, it's bigger. It's much bigger. And you start going and exploring this mansion, opening one room at a time, knocking on the door, opening and discovering, is it a bedroom? Is it a library? Is it a secret room? Is it a closet? You don't know. But you unlock the door, you go inside and you discover what's there. So exactly on the same spectrum, we approach the inner world. Right? So we think this, what we see with our two eyes is this is the all, this is everything, this is the end. But the moment we close our eyes and decide to focus on something, decide to focus on a feeling, a thought, or emotion, oh, there's a part of me that gets stressed or nervous when I need to speak in public, for example, and you start getting curious. Why? Why am I getting nervous? Who is getting nervous there when I need to speak in public? Just simple curiosity, you know, the key to your inner world is curiosity. You can unlock that world with curiosity only. Now, I am going to say this. Some of us had very traumatic childhoods. Some of us had histories of severe neglect. Some of us had histories of severe abuse. And if that's the case, it makes also a lot of sense why that space, that inner world, at some point would not be available, or it wouldn't feel safe to go there. And if that's the case, I would really, really, really suggest that you work with someone who can take you to that inner world very, very carefully, very, very safely, by the hand, one step at a time. And I want to still confirm, no matter what you are afraid you will find on the inside, it is much more scary to never go there and never know what is there. It is much more unsafe to live with all these rooms never unlocked and opened. It doesn't create safety in our system. Basically, what it creates is we are afraid of ourselves. We are afraid of our inner world. We are afraid of our parts. We are afraid of our pain. We are afraid of our past. We are afraid, we are afraid, we are afraid. So that tremendous fear that we live in like a sea, we're swimming in that fear of what am I going to find there? What is there sitting and just maybe so angry or so rageful or so grieving and sad that it's better not to go there? Well, a part of us might feel it's better not to go there. And I would say it is better to go there. But some of you might need support, guidance, and safe control therapeutic environment. Some of you might do it just a step by step and start with first layer of parts in your system and very, very gently going with curiosity and exploring. In my practice, when I start working with someone, there is anxiety, there is fear. What am I going to find, and how is this going to change my life, and how is it going to impact me, or what new decisions am I going to have to make? And I understand that anxiety, I understand that fear. And I just want to really reassure you that no one ever had their life going the wrong way when they started discovering what's on the inside, started discovering their inner world. No one ever started to have life going the wrong way. This just doesn't happen. Why? Because when you discover something on your inner world, things start. It is the beginning of making sense. Before we meet something on the inside and make it conscious and properly look at it and properly see it and properly understand it, we are living on the level of suppressing, fixing, bypassing, denying, rejecting, avoiding. So we live in this way in a strategy of doing all those things that I just said, which takes a lot of energy. It's very, very draining to do all of that. To kind of run away and hide, suppress, bypass, reject, deny, run away. It takes much more energy than to properly once look at something. And when that happens, system softens. We soften, because now what has been unknown becomes known. Now there is much more safety, because the fear and anxiety of living in this unknown is much higher than when you meet something. It can be surprising. Many times it's very surprising what we discover on the inside. But then it becomes known. And that makes our inner system so much more safer. And every time, every dive, every approach, every insight, every time you go inside, it gets more safer and safer and safer and safer and safer. Now, I want to kind of answer the original question that I put here in the very beginning. What is that inner world? Where do we actually go? Because there is no like a hidden chamber in our brain that we need to find an access to. Well, let's try to answer this question. It's not easy though, but you can have your attention focused with your eyes open on the outer world. How do we make a first step? How do we access? How do we go on the inside? We close our eyes. We close our eyes. And some of us might start having an inner sense, meaning you will kind of see something. You might start seeing, it's a different way of seeing, but you might start seeing, for example, parts of you that have different, even sometimes different genders, different age, different appearance. You might start see places, you might start see colors. You might be visual when you go inside. Literally, you can just notice something that will maybe making sense to you. Some of us are not visual, and when we close our eyes, we just do not see anything. But there is other different ways of perception, right? Interception, interoception. We might start having just knowing. Basically, we just know. When we ask a question on the inside, how did that situation when I was 7 years old made me feel? And you will know. The thought will come back, maybe even some feeling will come back. The memory will come back. You do not need to necessarily see your things in your inner world, but you can definitely experience them. So you will know what you need to know. You will feel what you need to feel. You will have a sense of it. You will have a sense of it. How do we go there? First of all, we need to let go the idea that there is only one world. Second, we close our eyes and we take a few moments to recenter our attention and our awareness there, behind our eyes, on the inside. It's not a physical place like the outer world. But I can tell you that that universe is so much more bigger and much more vast and multidimensional. There is not like in the outer world, you just see animals, objects, people. When you go on the inside, you see other things. You might see angels, you might see demons, gods, goddesses, energies, beings, unattached burdens. You might find there's so much stuff that we read, in fairy tales, in this oldest books that is kind of fiction about different beings in different worlds. And it seems like magical and not real, but honestly, just a story from my experience, my personal experience when I go inside, when I meet a part of me that needs protection or needs safety, and I go inside and I find that part of me that maybe at a certain period of my life, at a certain time, didn't have any protection. My mother was very, very sick and she couldn't take care of me. My father wasn't there at all. So I literally didn't have anyone to protect me. And I needed protection as a child in so many different ways. I was bullied in in the place where I was living in with other kids. There were problems at school. There were many things going on in my life. And so many times I just needed someone to protect me. So today, from who I am today, when I go on the inside and I discover a part of me that is still stuck somewhere there, back in time, needing someone to just step up for me, like a father or like a big brother to just step in and actually, protect me. What I see my inner world is doing is my inner world has these two beautiful dragons, and my world is sending these two dragons to protect that part of me in that place. And I find it so special and magical and fairy tale like, but it is very, very real experience when I see that part of me needing protection. And these two huge, beautiful dragons come forward and they surround me and they shield me and they, push away or scare away perpetrators. That instantly makes all of my system feel extremely safe, secure, cared for, and protected. So I love these two dragons that live inside of me, and they come to actually do the job that my parents would need to be doing, but unfortunately that was not possible. So we do have stuff on the inner world that might not make much sense to our logical mind, but we have to really take it seriously and interact with it. Because as I said again, inner world is a universe. If this world that we can see with our eyes is kind of limited, there's kind of rules to this world, like how things work, right? Like the stones will just not be floating up in the air and levitating. But on the inner world, there is no rules. There is no time rule. There is no gravity rule. You can travel through time and space. You can move objects. You can change things. Everything is possible. On the inner world, everything is possible. And saying this, knowing that on the inner world, everything is possible, meaning we can go back in time. And meaning, like I just described to you, when a part of me needed someone to protect her, today, I can send these two dragons to her. And that changes how she feels back in that time. And how she feels back in that time impacts how I feel today. So that little adjustment makes my system feel more safe and secure in my body, in my time, in my space, right now and right today. So when we do healing in our inner world of the experiences, situations that we had in the past, when we change the past, it changes the present, meaning it changes how we feel today. And in the next episode, I will be sharing a bit more in depth about this whole process of changing the past and doing the healing on ourselves and early versions of ourselves. But I just want to tell you that inside of you, when you go inside, normal rules that apply to the world that we live in here outside, they don't apply there. Meaning we are on one level powerful because we can change things. We can move things. We can even take ourselves out of those dangerous places. We can fight back. We can revisit past and change the situation and change and respond differently. And we can protect ourselves differently. That's the big, big plus. But also on the inside, there are other things that are not really, truly, fully in our control. So it's like an, Wild West. There are not only our parts, but there are also can be other beings that found their way in our inner world from our lineage, from our culture, from our legacy, from our generations. There can be stuff that we just pick up in hospitals, cemeteries, places where there was a lot of suffering and war. What we would call energies or beings. Sometimes these energies and these beings find their way into us, find their way into our inner world, and we can discover that. We can really find out that they are there only when we go inside. So when you're just starting, what you will be beginning to see in the first few layers, it will be just you, it will be just your parts, it will be your probably a part that is protecting you, a part of you that is controlling situation, your achiever part. Maybe you will meet a few young parts of you that need protection and support. And for some of us, this is more than enough already. There is a lot of things we need to work through. There is a lot of changes and healing and work needs to be done only on the level when we just work with parts of us and we just work with our system. But then when we get to clear, like this first superficial, like we remove the dust, from the top, then we start seeing much, much more. So as someone who has been offering clairvoyant energy readings and healings, or you can call them psychic energy readings and healings, meaning I close my eyes, and when I'm doing a reading or a healing to a person, I see energy. And sometimes I see parts of them that need healing and support. And sometimes I see stuff that is not part of them. For example, I can ask, oh, I see this energy that, kind of suppresses you or brings this depression. And then I probably can go deeper into that and discover, oh, this actually is not your energy. And actually this energy you picked up when you went to that old house of your grandmother, and there was so much depression, there was so much sadness that it got into you. And then I would do a healing and clear that energy from someone's space. So I have seen a lot of things. Going and looking at people's energy, I see a lot of things, right? Something belongs to their system, something's foreign, something doesn't belong to their system, something belongs to their ancestors, or doesn't belong to them at all. Just something gets inside. But what I really find fascinating, that with guidance and support, we ourselves can go on the inside and recognize what is ours, what is not ours, and also what is on the long term process. I would say we must learn and develop the awareness. When we go inside and we tune into ourselves and like, what is this anxiety? And we tune into this anxiety and we might discover, oh, this is not my anxiety. This is anxiety of this person that I just had an interaction with. And for those of us that are very sensitive, and I like the word porous, right? It's not really an illusion to say that we pick up things. We are not like really like a castle that is protected from everything. No, we can talk to a very anxious person and get their anxiety. And what I really want for you is to be able to go onto that inner world. First of all, find that anxiety inside of you, and then interact with that anxiety and discover if it's a part of you anxious about something, or it's actually not yours, or it's someone else's, and then be able to work with it and clear it. So on the longer run, if we look at the life as a journey, for me, the whole meaning and the whole purpose of life is to not only discover this beautiful planet and the beautiful things on this planet, but also to discover ourselves, to discover what's on the inside. And when we say ourselves, we have our core self. That is a singular thing. There is just one core self. And there is so much more. And the journey of life is to every day to become a little bit more conscious, to become a little bit more aware on what is waiting to be discovered there. And I want to tell you from professional side of me that has been working with a lot of people for many years, in therapy, in spiritual work, in healing work, and many different modalities, I would like to share with you that all the answers are here. They are within. All the answers are within. Meaning, the first layer would be understanding your patterns, your behaviors, your triggers, understanding why you're reacting this way, understanding which parts of you are you avoiding, denying, rejecting, suppressing, bypassing. What are you really afraid of meeting there and discovering about yourself? So there's this first layer of just working with parts of you and understanding them, which as a result, on the long run, offers you calm, not the calm that we just need to talk ourselves into or pretend there is this calm, but the calm that comes from this safety, this knowing, this connection, this ability to interact within ourselves and know ourselves. That's where real calm is actually coming from. And in Buddhist tradition, they kind of talk to anger when they meditating. They talk to anger, they talk to sadness, but in a way they talk to it in a way by offering compassion, witnessing, observing, and offering compassion, which is already beautiful and huge. And I will talk more about the connection between internal family systems therapy model and Buddhism in the next episode. But I just want to say that Buddhists already doing this. And as you can imagine, some of those who have done thousands of hours of meditation definitely can get a little bit more calm, right? So we imagine this Buddhist monks as really, really calm. But I would say it's not the end of the story. It's not the end of the story. When we know our system, the true calm really arrives. When we actually are in control, there is nothing taking over us. You know, sometimes you're talking to someone and you just see they're almost like possessed. Something triggers them and they change completely, and they're like in a state of affect, where in that state, you know, you can say things that you don't want to say, you can do things that you don't want to do, you can make a lot of bad decisions, you can do a lot of mistakes, you can, you know, hurt people. Like people kill each other in a state of affect when a part of them takes over. So that's what I'm kind of, you know, highlighting, the safety. when we know our inner world, at least on a superficial level, it is safe for ourselves and it is safe for everyone else. We are much more transparent, and the calm and the safety, clarity and confidence will be coming from that place. And then once we know this kind of first layer, then another doorway, another room in this mansion opens, and we get to discover. In some spaces, we discover our past lives. In some spaces, we discover things that are beyond what we can properly see or imagine on this world, or even discover in a clinical, normal therapy session. I believe there is absolutely no way our life can be meaningful and fruitful and truly fulfilling and truly interesting if not for a second we will be curious about what's there. Who are we? Which world are we living in? Why? My system has certain responses or certain triggers, and we will never dare to go there. We will never dare to dive into this vast universe. Life would be, I would say, it's just my opinion, but in my opinion, life will be missed big time. We will just miss the whole point of it. It's to really find out who we are, find out ourselves. And it is my story, and it is also a story of people I work with. You know, we do have an idea of a temperament, of a type, of a personality. For example, we know this person is very, very lazy. They are procrastinating all the time. They are daydreaming all the time. They are useless, helpless, not productive, and yeah, they're just failing at everything. For example, right? We might have an example of someone like this in our life. But this is not who the person is. The person is not lazy or procrastinating. When you go on the inside and you meet parts of them that are procrastinating, you might discover a lot of interesting things. For example, you might discover that there is a part of them that blocks them every time they want to do something, because this part believes it is more safe to not do anything. It is more safe to sit at home all day on the couch and watch TV. It is more safe than to put ourselves out there and to try something and to dare and to risk. This part might be just concerned. It is very dangerous to risk. It's very dangerous to put ourselves out there. It's very dangerous to do anything in this world because this and this and this and this might happen. We might be failing, or people might judge us. And only this can be a reason why a person can be lazy and procrastinate. So imagine we believe that this is the personality. But as we go inside and we actually heal the system, we help a part of them to not be afraid anymore. We heal the fear. We heal a part of them that was impacted by probably judgment, criticism, or failing before. And then the next day, this person starts taking action. They start looking for a job. They call and they ask for an interview, or they take a project and start leading it. So this is really the most fascinating question. Are we this way, and this is our type and person and identity, or this is how we are wired, and this is how we are in the unconscious, and this is how our inner world is set? Until we go to this inner world, address all those things, and our personality changes. I can tell you that high achievers, right? someone can say, oh, my son, I'm so proud of him. He's such a high achiever. He always working so hard. He's so successful, always gets what he wants, always achieves his goals. And we would label this person as a high achiever. But then again, when we go on the inside and we discover why this part is so focused on achieving something, again, this might be a very strong protective part that is working very, very hard and probably so drained and exhausted and lives in constant terror and fear of feeling like they are irrelevant, they are not seen, they are ignored, they are unworthy, or they are criticized all the time by someone. That's why they just need to work, and achieve. And again, as you harmonize the system, as you work on the system, as you help system to come back to its normal state, which is more kind of neutral place, you discover that this part it's not so intensely highly driven anymore with this anxiety. It's like running from from wolves kind of feeling, need to achieve something. Yes, this person might still feel confident. This person might still be successful, but they do not need to be hyper achievers, meaning maybe sacrificing their nervous system, sacrificing their relationship with their family, sacrificing their health in order to achieve something, right? That has other negative impacts. So I don't know, when we think about ourselves or someone we know in our life and we label them in a certain way and we give them this personality type, if this is really who they are, or if this is really who you are. And maybe when you discover yourself and you go inside and you're just like curious, why am I working without stop? Or why am I just so lazy and I procrastinate all the time? When you just go inside and start unpacking all of that, so many questions might be answered. And you actually might just find a real self, how you really are, how much time, you want to dedicate to working, to resting, and yeah, which kind of person you are, when you're just not hijacked and wired. So my invitation for you is to contemplate a little bit your relationship with your inner world. How much time out of 24 hours do you spend on the inside? And my invitation to you, one step at a time. Make a first glimpse, close your eyes, be curious, look inside, ask yourself just, why am I feeling like this? Why am I doing this? Why am I triggered in these situations? Just ask. Just go inside and simply ask. And I know for a lot of you, this might be already a lot and too much, and you need a bit more guidance on this, which I get you back on that, and I will speak to you about this in a second. And for those of you who have already, did some work on some aspects of you, I would say stay curious. And I want just to tell you, there is so much more to unpack within you when you have a clear map and when you have a proper system in a way how you need to go inside and what you need to look inside. So generally, I wish everyone that each of us just at least spend 20 minutes of consciously looking into our inner world a little bit every single day. It is so healing for the whole system. Every time when we just take a moment to look inside, it's so healing. It's such a important thing to do. And I know that our parts might think, this is not important. Let me, tick all these boxes, reach all these goals, achieve all of these things that I decided that I need to achieve in my life. And only then, when I have absolutely nothing to do, I will look inside. But I have to tell you, my friends, no, it has to be other way around. When we have absolutely nothing else to do, we have to focus on the outer world. But the primary focus has to be our inner world. We get to spend there much more time than we spend on the outside. We have to. If we want to be healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if we want to discover ourselves, if we want to grow, if we want to awaken, if we're actually interested in becoming the full, complete version of ourselves and go beyond and beyond and beyond, we will not discover that and achieve that by doing stuff on the outer world in any way. The first change, the first adjustment, the first discovery has to be internal. And the good news, it is actually quite easy. You don't need to buy tickets, fly anywhere. You can just sit at any, place in your home, close your eyes, and start getting curious about what's there within you. Now, I know that it's easier said than done, and I've been there myself, and it took me a lot of time, investment, and training to properly learn how to work with my own system. And I'm so glad I am able today to sit down, go inside and work with my system and work with my parts. And I have to tell you, it has been just changing my life day after day. I still cannot fully believe it. This is really so effective and this is really so tremendously helpful. But it is. And today I'm actually very capable of sitting and working with my system and doing a certain level of therapy on myself inside. I still work with other people, which I just love someone guiding me and holding space for me and sending me to the places that sometimes it's difficult to go myself. But I just can tell you that every day I go inside and I check with myself, and that's very, very helpful to stay neutral, curious, to just become confident, best version of myself every single day. I am preparing for those of you who are either very, very beginners, already started something, or even, you kind of consider yourself advanced in some sort of intuitive or spiritual world. For all of you, I am preparing group mentorship that I will start in September. The name of this mentorship is U-Turn. And as you imagine, it's really about you turning back to you, you going in, you discovering your inner world. I will be sharing with you more details about this group mentorship and how it will be structured, what it's really all about, what you will learn, what we will be practicing together. But I just want to share that my intention is to give you very clear and safe road map of meeting yourself on the inside and working with your inner system anywhere, anytime, without, urgently needing to schedule a healing session or a therapy session, that you are able to hold space for yourself and gradually build that trust, comfort, safety in your inner world and not live in this kind of unknown, scary place that can blow up anytime, or that driving your choices, behaviors, and decisions, and you still cannot control it. That's what I don't want. So the U-Turn will be a group mentorship or even like a kind of a training for people who ready to not only live on the outside, but meet themselves on the inside in a very safe, manageable, guided, and properly structured way. So I'm super, super, super excited about that. I'm still working on the whole program and we'll be putting it on my website in the next couple of weeks. We'll let you know. Just want to let you know that that will be starting in September. So if you have been looking for a training or a course or a mentorship to start, working, or parts of you working on things that you feel are challenging inside and that you need support, I've got your back. This will be a beautiful experience for a safe group container that I will be guiding personally. And very, very calmly and safely, we will be making with you this first steps into your inner world, into this vast universe that I'm very, very, very excited to lead you into and show you the way so that you can meet yourself there, and this will stay with you for the rest of your life. This is for today. I hope you have got that sparkle of curiosity about your inner world from this episode, and please feel free to send me your questions, and I look forward to speaking with you even more in detail about this topic in my next episode. Thank you so much. Hope you all having a great summer, and until soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Your Soul's Therapist podcast. I want you to know that I deeply appreciate your willingness to find healing for your soul and add to our collective sanity. If you feel like this podcast offered you something valuable, I invite you to circulate a goodwill back by rating the show and clicking the button follow. If you will share this episode with your friends and family, I will be beyond grateful. My investment of time and energy to create this authentic content is significant, and your input and support can make a huge, huge difference. And before you go, I want to remind you that each of our journeys are unique and truly complex. And my commitment is to look at your soul with clarity, to help you see what you might be blind to see, and gently guide you out of the places where you have been stuck. Whether you're drawn to my intuitive healing sessions or profound depth of counseling, I'm here, ready to accompany you on your path. Go to my website, vladadesousa.com, and choose the best way to work with me one-on-one. May you be blessed.